Hey freaking flies, welcome back to another video on the channel. Brandon, a guy who flies, sitting down to talk about episode 3 of HBO's The Flight Attendant.
I've been trying to make my wallet fold all day. Cashing in my dreams, big payout. Underneath my money tree, big shade out. Now these models.
The title of the episode, long AF. So, do I remember it? Not quite. Let's hop back into it. The episode kind of opens like right where it picked off, and we see the laptop is playing audio, but it's audio from somewhere else, and it's literally like Max and Annie, I believe, having conversation. And we see the couple that's tied up in the closet, and we see sneaky couple who are in the process of, I assume, dyeing their hair. So apparently Cassie's house has been bugged. In the Mind Palace, Cassie with the other Cassies are trying to decode that message from Megan, you know, the emojis or whatever, and it comes to say the puffing keychain Megan Iceland emergency. Okay, that's basically what they got from it. So now Cassie's like, well, I have to go to Iceland to see Megan, but you know she's not working, she's grounded. So she wakes up the next morning and just uniform on. She's on her way to the airport. She runs in with Annie, makes up another lie, like follow these lies about why she has to leave. But she goes to the airport. She runs into Grace. You know, we haven't seen Grace since we left her apartment with the fentanyl lollipops or whatever. They kind of have a little back and forth. She lies to Grace, and basically she goes up to the flight and she's trying to jump seat, meaning she's trying to non-rev to Iceland, but I'm assuming the flight is sold out, so she has to sit on the jump seat, and there's only, I'm assuming, one jump seat open, and this other senior flight attendant, Carol, who we get introduced to, is on the list ahead of her. And those of you in aviation know, seniority is everything. See, Carol has better seniority, so she would get the seat over Cassie. So basically, she has to blackmail her because they call her Black Market Carol for like selling buddy passes, which is very common. Let's just say that. So she blackmails her and she gets the seat. Who's working the flight to Iceland? Shane, okay? So then they kind of have a little run-in. She's continuing to tell more and more lies to Shane, even like knowing that Shane doesn't believe anything she's saying, but she's telling more lies to Shane. So in the Mind Palace now, while on the plane, we meet future Cassie, or like, it's a flight attendant version of Cassie, but this is like perfect Cassie, like future perfect Cassie. Yeah, let's call it that. Okay, and so she, an engagement ring on her hand, because she's, you know, here to talk to Cassie in a way of like, I am who you are if you get your shit together. Trying to be the voice of reason, not like gold dress Cassie, sort of like black sweater depression Cassie, but in a different way. This is like, I'm going to tell you all the things you don't want to hear but you need to hear. That's who future perfect Cassie is. Anyway, we go back to the house in LA. Marco showed up because him and Cassie were supposed to have breakfast. There's no Cassie. So then Annie calls her, and by this point she's in Iceland, and she's like asking Annie to make up a lie because she's like in Iceland and she can't tell that she's in Iceland. But then they go down this rabbit hole of like, are you lying to him? Did he like ask you to move in? Are you serious about him? This, and this. And clearly Cassie is avoiding like life at home. She is all into her little mystery hiatus of going to find Megan or whatever. So she's in Iceland. She's basically is going through Iceland because she's been here before, you know, international flight attendant, and she's revisiting all the bars that she's been to in the past with Megan, you know, basically saying like, hey, have you seen this person or whatever. And she's basically going down memory lane, but it's kind of hard because, you know, present Cassie is at this point of 1 year being sober, but all of the flashbacks are basically like gold dress Cassie, like young, wild, and free, toe up, having the time of her life. And so that is, that's really triggering for her. Like being, like, not being in that atmosphere, but being bombarded with those memories while at the same time trying to stay present and do what she has to do. She's also kind of like distracted by all of the other blondes that are in Iceland apparently. Like this whole episode was just like mind tricks and mind games. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but here we are. So she really doesn't have luck finding her. She's like all over the place, and she just has no luck really running into Megan at any of these places she checked. Go back to LA. Annie's and Max are going to lunch at Max's parents' house. We see in the distance that they're being followed by the couple. So now Annie and Max are once again in the mix of Cassie's mess. So there's that. Go back to Iceland. Cassie runs into Shane again. They basically go have dinner. And at dinner, Shane is like, look, I don't believe in coincidences. It's not a coincidence that you were on the flight, that I was working to Iceland. You're under a fake name. You're doing this. You're doing that. He's just like, you need to figure out what is going on or whatever. He doesn't believe her. He knows that she's telling lies. She knows that he knows that she's telling lies. And both of them aren't saying what they really want to say. But both of them know that they have more to say. So it's just kind of like this lull. They have an interesting little kind of like relationship between them. Because they are friends. But they have that whole CIA thing going on. And it's like, they're friends. But then Cassie's friends with Megan. Shane is in the CIA trying to find Megan for over a year now. Cassie's like here trying to help Megan, but not saying that. But then this is her friend too. It's a very weird place for her to be in. At dinner, her card declines. Why does her card decline? Because somebody has used her card and bought a bunch of hardware supplies. Not just any hardware supplies, like ropes and chains and all these other things that you would use to basically torture somebody, kill somebody, and hide the body. So she's like freaking out. She calls Annie, trying to figure this out, like trying to, like, what is going on, trying to figure it out or whatever. Annie finds another clue while she's at Max's parents' house. The license plate triggers her to something else, so she thinks she's found another clue from the viewfinder, whatever that little toy is that you look at the pictures in or whatever. Our girl Cassie back in Iceland is having a total breakdown in that hotel room. She is on the verge of drinking alcohol because what is happening, in my opinion, is that Cassie's running away from everything that's happening at home, not addressing any of it, trying to be out here and do this, like, escapism. Like, if avoidance was a person, it is her. So she's avoiding life at home, parading it with, like, I'm going to go help Megan, I need to do this, I need to do this, as a distraction and an excuse not to confront her problems at home, because in the past, she would have used alcohol to confront her problems, because alcohol is a way to escape. You go drink the alcohol, you go do this, and this, and then you, like, oh, I can use alcohol, oh, I was so drunk, it's an excuse. She doesn't have that anymore because she's not drinking. So she is really going through it, and she really just needs to be honest. But that wouldn't make for a good show if she was honest and just laid it out. But here we are. She's freaking out, back and forth into the Mind Palace. She was like this close to making a drink. And then she's trying to talk herself into going to a meeting, an AA meeting that is. She was like, I need to find a meeting. I need to go to a meeting. And then she's like, on her way out of the hotel, she runs into Shane again. Shane is like, look, enough is enough. I know what's up. You know what's up. And he tries to put the fear of death in her. Like, look, I'm showing you this picture. You see this? This is what Megan has gotten herself into. This is who's after her. And anybody who is involved or connected to her, this is what's going to happen to them. You need to watch yourself. She's being Cassie. She's gone off in the distance. She's not going to do it. Back at lunch, because, we getting the whole side Annie and Max storyline. Annie breaks down with his parents, like, look, I ain't trying to do all this. This whole, y'all done already planned that I'm going to get married, that I'm going to have a wedding here, that I'm going to have these kind of kids, and I'm going to live this, and this, and this. And it's like, no. So Annie's going through her whole situation with Max, and they break down even more towards the end of the episode, because are we truly a good fit for each other is basically where they at. And so they have such a good relationship, but it would be terrible for them to not be able to reconcile their differences, because they have some things they need to work through too. Okay, so back in LA at the CIA, Benjamin, Cassie's CIA boss or whatever, is like fed up with her because she's not returning calls. She's missing her check-in. She's out here going rogue. She knows the information that could be vital to them. And the director is like, stop worrying about her. She'll be fine. This, and this. The director is starting to look real suspicious. Like, she is tied up in some of this because she's a little bit too nonchalant about the whole situation for me. Okay? So I'm going to keep my eye on her. That's when we're going to talk about that towards the end of this. Okay? Cassie does find an AA meeting in, what is that place called? Iceland. Yes. She finds an AA meeting. She shares about her little, what she's going through. And then somebody else goes to share, and through them sharing, they basically mention Megan. Without mentioning Megan, but they describe a person that they met who is Megan. So then Cassie knows, like, oh, this is Megan. And she talks to the dude to find out where he met her at. Bam, that's that. So then On her way to Megan, Annie calls Cassie to let her know, look, I found the next clue. The license plate picture that we found is German, and this is the car that it belonged to, da-da-da-da-da-da. And Cassie's like, wait, that's the same car that got bombed in Berlin. So putting the pieces together, we now have the statue, we now have the license plate that belongs to the car. The two pieces of the puzzle. We're only on our third episode, so who knows what we're about to get to next. And then the episode ends, Cassie walks into a bar. Who's the bartender? Megan. Megan's like dead in the face and she sees Cassie and she's like, oh my god, I found you. And then Megan's like, what the fuck are you doing here? She's like, you being here is going to get both of us killed. Episode end. So like, oh my god, I forgot the best part. Oh, y'all. When Annie and Max were arguing and they went back into their apartment, there was a little break between the two going in, but basically they got ambushed by the couple. Like the whole gas to the, you know, face, put you out unconscious, they got ambushed. So I just want to know, like, oh my gosh, like, this couple mentioned, like, we need to do something or we're not going to be the first ones to them. What's really going on? So we know a little bit more about the Megan story. The preview for episode 4 shows that we're going to learn a lot more about what's really going on, but let's get into these QTNAs, okay? Questions that need answers, if you're not familiar with that acronym. Okay, number 1, this director lady, I got my eye on you now. Forget everybody else I was asking about. I want to know about this director lady. Why is she so nonchalant? Is she part of some backward side scheme? Because y'all know the people in the government be so corrupt. They be the most corrupt people, and they supposed to be the ones that's supposed to be protecting us. So what's going on with Miss Director Lady? Number 2, how is the Cassie and the Shane storyline going to continue to develop? Because they did not leave off at a good point. And I know that he's basically watching her because he knows that she's helping Megan. And so he knows if he watches her, he'll find Megan. So he's going to be on her like white on rice. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not on every single one of her trips for like the rest of forever, the rest of the season or whatever. Okay, and then number 3, how many people are out looking for them? Like, what is truly going on? And Annie and Max, y'all, what did y'all got yourself into? What is this couple about to do with them? So that's that. I'm Brandon, I'm a guy who flies. I will see you all back the next time.